We are live with Sean. Is this another special guest?
This is a very special guest. Another one.
My mum says I'm special.
I mean, I think I say that every single time, but it just, it just gets more special and special. That's what we do here at Mini Life. We just bring the special to the masses, I guess, if you will.
Exactly that.
We've been trying to do this for a while. Kevin and you may know him from the Gentleman's Motor Racing Team. Famous YouTuber, famous rally driver, all around great guy. So I appreciate you, Kevin, for being on here today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Glad to meet you, chaps.
So
it's good to see you, man.
Before you jumped in on the studio here, I was like, he's from the Isle of Wight, right? And Sean was like, what? And he's like, it's white. I was like, no, it's right. Isn't it? There's an R in there. I was like, is the R silent?
I was like, what R are you on about?
I was like, I swear on my, I guess I've never said it out loud, and I just always see it, and I just for some reason put an R in there, like WRI. What a loser. No. Stupid Americans.
We are literally about as far south as you can get in the UK. So if you looked at if people don't know where we are, Alex Toon, he kept thinking that I was based on the Isle of Man, and we're like, no, it's down the south. So yeah, if you look at the UK, if you go down as far as south as you can, right in the middle, there's a little tiny island. It's about 30 miles by 60 miles, and that's where we are.
Ooh. Dang, I drove over 60 miles just yesterday. That's amazing. What do you guys do over there? That's incredible. How are there good roads? That's the first question.
The roads are amazing. It's a lot hillier than people realise, and it's all basically all B roads everywhere. So,
man, that's on my list now. I'm coming.
It's a proper holiday destination. People come to us to go on holiday, and it's a great little place.
Well, I guess I probably would have never found it because I would have been typing in flights to the Isle of Wight, and I don't know where I would have ended up. See, listen, I'm not ashamed to admit when I'm wrong,
Before we start, can I just say that I've got a bit of what's the phrase I'm looking for? I'm envious of your. I don't know if people know, I don't have any hair. I used to have hair back in the day. I was like a proper blonde serve. But you guys have got the most luscious, silky dark hair and chiseled beards. You're like straight out of 300. And I'm like, yeah, why I've got no hair and no beard. I tried to grow a beard once, but yeah, you guys should be in you should get a shampoo sponsor or something like that. I think that'd be good.
I don't know if you guys have it over there. What was over here? There's this one that people with long hair used to called mane and tail. It was like a horse shampoo. It was for horse shampoo. And I used to use it, and when I was in middle school and high school, and girls were like, "Your hair's so good. What do you use?" I was like, mane and tail, and they're like, "What?"
I genuinely wanted to go to a fancy dress shop and see if I get myself a 300 chiseled beard so I could be part of the group.
The beard you just have to commit to. You just have to commit to it and just let it go.
I tried when we had COVID during lockdown. I was like, yeah, I'm going to grow a beard for as long as lockdown goes, and I lasted a week, and that was it. So yeah.
Yeah, you got to get at least 2 months, and then
Yeah, get past the itchy stage.
I don't know if I can do anything about the hair on the top of your head though. So.
No, that went in my 30s. That's never coming back.
Oh man, well, the beanie looks good on you, so or whatever that's called over there. What's it called?
Yeah, it's a beanie. Yeah, it's a bit chilly.
I got in trouble for that one time. What was it? Woolly cap. There we go.
Yeah, you got slated for that one.
woolly cap. I'm like, sorry, man. It's called a beanie over here. What am I going to say? So, anyways, so for those that have not seen, you should probably go check out the Gentleman's Motor Racing Team, Instagram, YouTube. Are you on Facebook? I don't know. All the places.
I've got a Facebook page. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. So, the Gentleman's Motor Racing Team. Awesome YouTube. showing like you building the car. We'll get into this later. Building the car, going rallying, all this kind of stuff. Sweet logo. I absolutely love your logo. It's just top notch. That's like right up my alley. But so everyone go
Excellent.
check it out while we're talking here. Go follow them right now and follow along so you can kind of see what we're talking about as we go here. So again, Kevin, thank you so much for being on.
That's my pleasure.
My first question actually is, the Gentleman's Motor Racing Team, did it start as just you, and now how many people are in the team?
It did, yeah. Have you seen the new Ferrari film?
I have
No,
not yet.
not
I
yet.
really want
No,
to.
have you seen the advert for it? There's a bit where he's going, like, you know, there's basically these two cars that he's explaining to his drivers. He's going, you know, two cars can't occupy the same piece of space at the same time. And what he's basically saying to his drivers, if you're in my Ferrari car, you're not the one that gives up. You're the one that will commit. You know, you'll crash or you'll make the corner. The Gentleman's Motor Racing Team is completely the opposite. If that happens, we go, after you, sir. You know, literally, we're not in it to win. We're in it for the experience of trying motorsport, and that's the thing. So we are. Yeah, or I like to think of myself as the classic gentleman racer. You know, so that's where it came from, effectively.
I like that.
And who's in it? Who's in it? It's my dad. There's a good little story about that, but I'll tell you that later. And basically Catherine, my partner. So it's just the three of us.
I love it.
Great
I
little
love it,
team.
man. Yeah, we'll get into all of this because I'm very interested, and I love what you guys are doing, and I love kind of I don't know if you call it grassroots, because you're kind of doing some from what it looks like bigger events.
Yeah,
definitely grassroots.
It is. Yeah, definitely grassroots. Yeah.
But it's definitely a step up from, you know, like what we do over here, autocrossing and stuff like that. It's definitely a step above that. You have to have some proper equipment to do it. But let's jump into the first question. I'd love to ask this one, and just how did you start with minis? What attracted you to the classic mini?
When I was at school, I decided quite early that I wanted to be a mechanic or an engineer or something like that. And they had at our high school, they had what you guys in the States would call, I think it's called, is it shop or something? What would you call it? Auto shop, auto tech at school. Yeah. So we had that, and I was like, brilliant. That's the bit I want to do. And obviously there was only a limited amount of space, and they basically said, no, it's full, Kev. Really sorry. You have to go and do agriculture. I was like, what? You know, this is what I want to do for a career. You know, there's people that going in it just because it's, you know, they thought it would be cool. And so, yeah, I went off and did the agriculture, which is fine. We learned how to milk cows and beekeeping and all that stuff, which is, yeah, it's fine. But obviously I had a bit of a tantrum over it. And my mum and dad were super supportive. And they said, because I was 14 at the time, and they said, well, how about we get you a car? And you can learn about cars and mechanics and stuff yourself. And I went, brilliant. And my dad found it must be like a 1971 Mark III Mini. And we bought that, took it home, and that was basically my. So it wasn't in any way a choice. I mean, minis have always been around in the family, but there's no like, I want a mini. It was just literally, I wanted a car to learn how to be a mechanic. And we bought that for 60 quid back in the day. So.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, minis were cheap.
For those Americans, quid, that's like the equivalent of dollar or buck.
Dollar and bucks, yeah.
The buck.
A buck.
Wow, a buck. What an American thing, dude. Buck? Like, come on. Anyways, the quid, 60 quid. Wow.
60 quid, yeah.
And was this on the Isle of Wight?
It was, yeah.
You're born and raised there?
I basically, yeah, I am basically. So, it's not so, yeah, near enough. I was thinking I was about 6 months when I was here. My mum, her side of the family goes back generations. My dad's from up to north, and yeah, so I sort of we came back to the island, and I was about 6 months. So I consider myself an islander, which bizarrely enough, to be known as Islander, you're a cork head, which is the traditional trade here on the Isle of Wight, which is corking the boats. You know, if you have like a boat and they're like wooden, yeah, they're made of planks, and that's not waterproof, so you have to cork inside the planks to make the boat waterproof, and that was originally the Isle of Wight's main trade. So a proper Islander is known as a cork head. Cork, yeah, as in cork, Kaulk.
Oh,
cork.
I was thinking like
cork.
Mike's sitting here thinking like wine bottle corking.
Yeah. That's what, and then I was like, okay, wait, he's talking about. I love this. It's so good. All right, yeah. Colt
Yeah,
head.
so it was good,
Colt.
completely accidental. I mean, say my parents, they had a minivan, and obviously, you know, minis were everywhere back when I was growing up, and it was just that that's the case. You could pick up a whole mini that's running for 60 quid. You know, that's what it was. So yeah, so it was
That's amazing.
Purely by accident, really.
Well, I would imagine it would be a great little car for the island, right?
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, absolutely
small
perfect.
roads and stuff. Wow. So how did you get along with this 71 Mark III? Did you like it? Did you work on it? Did you hate it?
I
What was it?
No, I absolutely loved it. And when I look, that's the problem. Like when you sort of my age and you look back at all the cars that you've had and what you did to them, you know, you kind of cry slightly, but you have no, you know, hindsight's a great thing. So I ran it and I used it and I learned how it worked. And in the end, I basically pulled the whole thing to bits. Yeah, until there was nothing there, and that was it. Then it got scrapped. So yeah, yeah. Literally, I pulled the engine to bits and went, oh, okay, this is a conrod and this is the gearbox, and yeah, I mean that's it. Yeah, and it never went back on the road again.
Wait, you pulled it apart. You pulled it apart and didn't put it back together.
Oh no, I pulled it apart, put it back together. I did it so many times, and in the end, when it was in bits, it was just like, yeah, okay, on to the next thing. And the next project for me was a Mark I Capri, which was which is pretty cool. That was my first proper road car. Was a Mark I Capri. Yeah, so.
Oh. Well, that's fun.
So it was literally a learning aid for me. But yeah, you look back at it now and you go, that's sacrilege. What a waste. But yeah, you know.
It happens. So let's kind of jump into then what brought you back around to want to start the Gentleman's Motor Racing team with a Mark I Mini. Was it planned? Did you have the Mark I Mini and then wanted to start rallying? How did this happen?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say once I was in my late teens, sort of 19, most of my friends were in the mini community. You know, that's what you did. You just bought, sold, crashed, whatever, you know, you just minis were cheap and cheerful at the time. So that's what you use. And so I ended up being part of the Isle of Wight Mini Owners Club. Sean, Dave Goodwin, who you met at the rally,
yes.
I've known him since I was like 17. Yeah, literally, he was part of the Isle of Wight Mini Owners Club.
No way.
Yeah, so there was this whole community. So that's basically how it all started, you know. So I've been into minis ever since then, really. But I've always, like yourself, Mike, always wanted to have a go at motor racing, but never did. You know, there's sort of lots of reasons, you know, why people don't go motor racing. Most people think that it's unobtainable, or you won't be good enough, or your car's not good enough. Everyone finds an excuse not to get into it, don't you? But my profession for a very long time, I was a sports psychologist in water sports, mainly in paddle sports such as kayaking and canoeing. And I sort of got to a level where I was not an instructor, as a coach. So basically, if you wanted to be oh my goodness, how can I describe it? If you wanted to be an instructor of instructors, I would be instructing the instructor how to be an instructor. So it was at that level, and it was all about, and it is all about sports psychology. And when you're teaching other instructors how to instruct, you kind of have to put yourself in the mind frame of how a student learns, and it's very easy as an instructor to forget what it's like to be a beginner. If you know what I mean, you know, because you're very good at what you're doing. you're very good at what you're doing. You're telling somebody else how to do it. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And you almost become disjointed of what it's actually like to be sitting in a wobbly boat, going, "Oh, this is the first time I've been on the water." And so I wanted to experience what it was like to be an absolute beginner and almost coach myself. And so I've always wanted to do motorsport. So I joined my local motorsport club and basically tried to coach myself because it was something I'd never done before. So I was now being an absolute beginner, experience what it's like. So yeah, that's literally why I got into motorsport, and I've never looked back, obviously.
What a brilliant way to push yourself and challenge yourself. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was. I say,
I really like that. I've been, I'm not to toot my own horn, but I've been at high level sports for a couple different sports. And, I was also a coach in those sports as well. And I know exactly what you're talking about. You kind of become disjointed and like, well, just do it. You're like, just do it this way. Like, what do you mean? And they're
why
just like,
can't you
wait.
do it?
Yeah, and then you have to kind of put yourself in their shoes,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's like doing something that you've literally never done before and being a beginner at it again is sometimes very frustrating. And I like that, and that's kind of I've been around cars for a long time, but racing them and learning the actual like, cool, I might think I know generally how to go around a track, and but like I've never done it before. I have no idea. I need somebody to tell me, or like you said, to coach yourself and learn everything you can. That's really cool. What age was this? When did you start this?
Probably 20 years ago, I guess. So yeah.
Wow. And did you
Yeah.
start with rallying, or did you do
Oh my
like
goodness, no. Our local car club here on our local motorsport club primarily does forward only auto tests, or like so what you guys in the States would call autocross. So basically just a big car park, lots of cones. You get told where the course is, and you get like 6 attempts to drive around the course. Every time you hit a cone, you get a time penalty, and it's the fastest
right?
person around the course wins. So it's a very, very simple. But of course, as in with any sport, it's challenging. So yeah, it doesn't matter what you're driving. It's always going to be a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. See, that's
One
why
of
I
the
just
one
want
of
to
the
start something like that. That sounds so much fun.
Oh, it is. I mean, say we our club. It's a day's motorsport for basically £20. You pay your £20 entry, and that's what you do. And it's our bread and butter. It's our basic motorsport here on the island, and it's just so much fun. You can't ask for any more for that sort of price. A lot of people
Absolutely
say
not.
how expensive motorsport is, but it doesn't have to be. I mean,
No.
you don't yeah, you basically become a member of a motorsport club. You pay your £20. You drive your. I've got like a standard Yaris as my daily, and I've used that before. When my racing cars don't work, you just grab whatever car you can and just have a great laugh. Just throwing
Mm-hmm.
the car around a load of cones.
So if
Yeah.
sorry, Mark, if anyone's trying to get into motorsport like this at a grassroots level, what's the easiest way that they can find a club?
In the UK, the governing body for most four-wheel motorsport is Motorsport UK, and they have a website. So if you go to their website, they'll have a whole list of clubs, and basically they'll have their email addresses or whatever, and you can contact them. And it's as simple as that. You say you don't even have to compete. I mean, Catherine, my partner, who navigates with me on the rally, she can drive, but she doesn't particularly enjoy driving. But she'll marshal at these events, and she'll be in the timing thing, and it's there are whole families. It's not just a load of blokes going, I want to go fast and be the best. It is literally whole families turn up, and it's a day of motorsport for an entire family. So yeah, you don't have to drive to start with. There are many roles in motorsport that you can do. So yeah, just find your local club, and it's the beginning of the journey. So
Once you're in, you're in.
I was actually just talking.
well, exactly. Once you're in, you're in. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was just talking with a buddy of mine that I used to work with. He recently, I think last year might have been his first year. He just like bit the bullet and got one of the. I don't know if they're called the same where you guys are, but like they're like those dwarf cars that have like motorbike engines in them, and they do like the dirt track ovals, you know. And he jumped into that. We
I
have
know
like
what
a
you
track
mean, yeah.
right here at our fairgrounds, and I was like, I can't, like that's the closest racing to me. I was like, oh, maybe I'll pick up one of those bad boys. That would be cool.
A side by side, is that what they call them? A side by side,
I think no. Well, I don't know, maybe, but they're
or is
called
that a
dwarf
smaller
cars
version of
here.
those? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's called dwarf. I don't know. Somebody's probably screaming into the computer. I don't know. I think it's called a dwarf car here. There's probably different classes, but yeah. So, all right, yeah. So you started with the auto testing, when, like you said, just whatever you had. When did you think like, hey, I want to like up this. I want to make a full blown rally car. Like, did it just slowly kind of progress? You know, you've been doing it a while.
Yeah. I mean, so like everybody else, you know, your aspirations or your dreams would be, oh, wouldn't it be amazing to go rallying? And even being part of the club for so long, still thought that rallying was, you know, beyond my means or ability or whatever. But then there are a few club members who decided they wanted to go rallying. So, you know, as we're all like a big family, they said, you know, Kev, do you want to come along and help? And I was like, yeah, too right. Exactly what you did, Sean. So I'd come along and I'd be spannering, you know, just helping and mainly filming, you know, getting the camera out so I could make a video of their event. And it soon became really apparent that it's not for elite sportsmen or people with an awful lot of money. You know, rallying is very accessible. I mean, admittedly, you do have to take a license and a written exam to make sure that you're okay. You know, you're not an idiot. And then
that sounds out, Mike.
But yeah, once I was spannering for a year or a bit, yeah, a friend of mine who was also spannering, we said, no, we've got to have a go at this, you know, and so we went, right, okay, we're going to build rally cars. And my mate had a Mark II Escort that he built up, and I, in my garage from auto testing, I had this Mark II Mini, which was actually an old ex Rallycross Mini, so you know, it was pretty beat up and very, you know, it'd seen some action in its time. So I went, that's it, that's what I'm going to build up. So slowly I sort of bought all the parts for it, and we both went and did our test. And then COVID hit, and obviously I wasn't furloughed, but my mate was. So he had loads of time to finish his Escort. So he finished his Escort. And once he was up here, he said, Kev, do you want to navigate for me? And I was like, yeah, of course I will. So I stepped up from being a mechanic to being a navigator in the Escort. Obviously thoroughly enjoyed it. And then he sort of gave up a bit later. So by the time I'd done that, my Mini was done, and off we go. So it's the hardest thing with having a rally car is the rules. The rules are very, very strict. You know, with autocross, auto testing and things like that, you can turn up with a standard car, not have any safety equipment in it at all. But a rally car, there's an awful lot of things that you have to meet the regs. But the cost wise is actually not that expensive. Have you heard of the Brighton speed trials?
Yes, they tried shutting that down not that long ago, didn't they?
They do. They keep trying to shut it down.
Yeah.
So in Brighton, on the south of the UK, it's one of the oldest UK motorsport venues. I think it started in, I don't know, 1902 or something like that, and it was basically it was literally some millionaire of the time convinced the council. They said, "Oh, I want to run a motor race," you know, which was a brand new thing. So they convinced them to pave the entire seafront of Brighton so they could run a motorsport race on it, basically a drag race.
Right.
And that's been running ever since. And I've done that a few times. I've done sprinting as well and hill climbing. And so they cost I don't know, you know, they cost a couple of £100 to enter. But of course they're really, really short things, you know, like for example, so when I did the Brighton speed trials, it is a quarter of a mile, basically a drag strip, but you don't drive side by side. It's just one at a time. You all line up one at a time, and whoever does the fastest time of the day wins. And in my Mark 1 Mini, the little green one I've got, I think I did it in 16 seconds or something, which is, you know, it's
not bad.
okay. It's okay. Yeah. But that's the thing. So it costs £140 to enter. It was you get one practice run and one timed run. So you could do your sums already. It cost me £140 to have just over 30 seconds of motorsport. Yeah, which is a little bit ridiculous. However, rallying is an average rally to enter is about £300, and as you know, that starts from 6 o'clock in the morning and it's dark by the time you finish. So, value for money, actually, rallying is not that expensive when you consider how much, you know, seat time you get. So, yeah, it's a great event. So that's how I got into it, basically by helping rallying, and then I just slowly worked my way up.
Well, I love that. I mean, and that's kind of what I figured. It just kind of evolves like that. What at what point did you decide to like document this and create this, you know, this YouTube persona, the Gentleman's Motor Racing Team? You know, I don't remember exactly when I started following you, but it's got to. How long have you had it? Because I feel like I've been following you for like, you know, as long as I've had my Mini, which is, you know.
Yeah, it's been going for it's been going for a very long time. I mean, say the original, I think my first ever auto test event is on there somewhere. If you scroll back through the YouTube channel, literally, like I think video number 1 possibly is me and my Mark 1 doing my first sort of auto test. So yeah, it's been going that long, and then it kind of I've sort of documented almost my journey into motorsport, and obviously it springs off onto other sort of tangents, you know, with other projects and things like that. But mainly it is motorsport orientated. Yeah,
it's a great little channel. I love watching it.
Yeah, I was just catching up on it this past week.
Yeah, it has. Whenever you watch how to make a YouTube channel, like yourselves, because obviously, you know, I watch your podcast actually on YouTube, so I could admire your beards. And no, I actually have it on in my workshop on the YouTube. But you have a really good structure, and everyone says that you should, you know, to be a successful YouTube channel, you need structure. Now, my channel doesn't have any structure whatsoever. It goes off on massive tangents. So yeah, you can easily get lost in it. I go down wormholes very often, that's for sure.
Yeah, we know all about that too well, don't we, Mike?
The infamous rabbit hole, yeah. You know, but it all comes back around though. It's all, you know, somewhat motorsport based, I guess. You're talking about how you're, you know, I don't know. I've watched so many of them. It's just, they're just entertaining. I was watching it was probably like 45 minutes or longer of the rally coverage, which was super cool. A lot of good in-car footage, and you know, it's just, I don't know. I love that kind of stuff, and I think most people that have a Mini do appreciate it because there is such a motorsport culture behind the Mini. But I really like it, whether it's off on tangents or not.
That was the thing I was saying with the well, you know, I wanted to have a go at rallying, but my dream has always been to rally in a classic Mini. You know, I was many times while I was, you know, trying to get into or get my car, people would offer me other cars, you know, say get this one, because, you know, I was offered a really good Nissan Micra that was ready to go. You know, I could have been rallying next week in it. And I kind of worked, and I went, yeah, but it's not a classic Mini, is it? And yes, I would be rallying, but I wouldn't be rallying in my car, in the car that I want to do. So, yeah, it took me a few years to build it. I certainly couldn't afford to buy one. You know, if you want to buy a proper rally mini ready to go, they're very expensive. So you know, help from other people and obviously bargain hunting and things like that. Yeah, we've got the car that we enjoy, competing in now.
You know what I like too about it is that it seems like a great community that you've built. Like people have donated or donated to the cause to build it, getting you new equipment or whatever it might be. What kind of like modifications, if you were to help somebody, you said you're kind of the coach, right? If you were to help somebody through starting to build a rally mini, what kind of modifications do you recommend starting with, and like how do they contribute to the performance of the car versus safety and things like that?
100%. I would not spend, and I try not to spend any money on performance. Absolutely no way. The reason being is the whole idea of the rally is it means nothing if you don't finish. So you want to spend as much money on reliability and as much of your time on reliability as possible. Yeah, and then once you've got a very reliable car, and you've maintained it to the max, you know, then you start thinking about, I mean, it's no difference to a road car, is it? Everybody likes buying that performance part, but, you know, the ball joints on your front suspension are knackered or whatever, when actually you should be spending your money on that. But in motorsport, obviously that's more important. The safety requirements for a rally car, there's actually no argument about it. There's the blue book, which is, you know, the rule book for building a rally car. It stipulates exactly what you must have, and that's where some people have really helped us. So you know, you've got to have a proper roll cage in there. The seats, believe it or not, they not only have they got to meet the standard, they also have expiry dates on them. So you know, you'll buy them and they'll last 10 years. The same thing with the harnesses; they'll a certain date. And then obviously there's the fire extinguisher system, and yeah, so all of those things you've got to buy. There's no way around it, sort of thing. So my advice is, if you ever want to get into motorsport, don't spend your money on performance parts. Get a car that works, meets the regs, reliable, learn how to drive, which, believe me, is a lot harder than you think, and then start thinking about performance.
I like that message because, like you said, it's kind of the same for road cars. Is you know, as much as I tinker, modify, dink around with my car, it's pretty stock. Like I just like to drive it so much that I don't want to. Like, one of the Patty Probe questions that I don't ask often is, it's one of the newer ones, is like, what is like a myth around the Mini or whatever it is, and one of mine is that they're unreliable. But like, if you know, I find mine to be very reliable. I
As
broke
with
it.
anything.
I broke it, but like, you just kind of keep up with it and just kind of drive it. So I like that, and that's kind of my philosophy, and that's part of the fun. Like, you got to finish the race. Like, it's no fun sitting on the sidelines fixing your car.
No, we've with the rally car, we're fairly new to it. We you know, we're not massively experienced. I think this is that event would probably be our 5th rally, maybe. And one of our best ones was actually on the Isle of Wight. We actually had, my goals when we did it, when I started, I want to do a tarmac rally, I want to do a gravel rally, a closed roads rally, a rally on the continent, and, believe it or not, a rally in the sea with snow studded tires and things like that. But we actually had a proper stage rally on the Isle of Wight, which was a gravel rally. And we won our class, you know, literally. I couldn't believe it. You know, everybody, when we were lining up, as you know, the faster cars go off, and there was a 6R4 going, and all, it was proper monster stuff going off, and people were coming to us while we were queuing up to do our stage 1, and they're going, Kev, it's not good out there, you know, it's really rough, it's really bad. Do you sure you want to do this? And we're like, yeah, no, it'll be fine. But actually, no, Katrin was properly pooping herself. But I was like, yeah, God, this will be fine. And we went out, and of course we didn't drive like, or I didn't drive like an idiot. I drove, you know, to the ability of the car and to my ability, and we actually won. We got decent trophy for winning our class, and we actually won a trophy for the spirit of the rally because, you know, we were the hare and the tortoise. The reason we won, the reason we won wasn't because we were fast. It's because everybody else crashed or broke down. So you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you? And that's probably one of our favorite awards. So
your YouTube video of the last rally that you did with Sean, I don't know which run it was. It was like maybe your second or third, but you finished it and you're like, oh, I think I went faster on that one. I wasn't driving like an idiot. Like I controlled it more. And that's that's kind of hard to, I guess, grasp. You think you got to go fast, pedal down, flat out. But there's some
smooth and consistent.
Yeah, strategery, you know?
Yeah, I mean, going back to learning how to drive. So we have a lot of people at our club that turn up for the first time. And same with all of us. And I was exactly the same thing. You know, you're convinced that everybody's watching you drive and you go, I've got to be quick. I've got to be good. You know, I can't look an idiot. And you overdrive. And so one of my things that I explain to them, I say, the car will go as fast as it will go. You know, the weak link out of the whole thing, I'm afraid, is you. And the reason is because you're trying too hard. So I said, if I get a house brick and put the house brick on the accelerator, the car will go as fast as it will go. It will go just as fast as you stamping on that accelerator. You know, there's no skill involved in going fast. The skill is learning or knowing when to go slow. And that's the thing, when you come into a corner, isn't it? It's knowing when to go slow so you have grip around the corners, so you don't end up understeering and things like that. But of course, in the brain, going back to the old sports psychology, you think, oh, I've got to brake late, I've got to accelerate early and everything else. So yeah, it is that's the thing. It's my motorsport is mind games. It's engineering and it's mind games.
Absolutely.
with your own mind.
Well, that was one of the problems that we had up at the Southdown stages, wasn't it? Earlier in the morning, just where it was so frosty, everyone was struggling trying to find that braking zone.
Yeah, that to say the reason I hit the pallet with the Mini was I think that was on stage 2. Stage 2 is and the reason was because it was quite early. So you're right. You go out and you'll choose a braking point and you'll go, oh, I brake too early. You know, I could go a bit later. So the next time you come around, you go, brake. Oh, yeah, no, I could brake a bit later than that. Third time you go around and you go, smack. And you go, yeah, okay, that was a little bit too far that time. So next time, but it gets too late. It's too late, isn't it? You've hit the thing. So it is knowing. It is judgment. And yeah, so there's not a lot you can do about it after you've hit it, really, is it?
Yeah, seriously. That's what the hammer's for, I guess, just bang it back out. What goes into setting up a Mini for like a gravel rally? Like, are you raising the car? Are you shocks? Like, what do you have to do to set it up for something like that so it's not rattling your teeth out?
So yeah, that's the thing. So one of the big disadvantages is I really want, like you guys, I want my Mini to look cool. So I stick. But one of the things when I built it, when I built it, one of the things is I wanted it to look like as if in the 60s. Sorry, I didn't want it to look like a works car. I didn't want it red with a white roof. I didn't want it with all the arches on it. I wanted it to look like it was the average Joe who went, I want to go rallying. And so it's like a clubman level 1960s rally Mini. So I'm not a fan of arches, so I wanted that. And I wanted stages with the 10-inch tires. And everyone's been telling me, if you went to 12s or 13s, you could have more ground clearance, you could buy better tires, and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, no, but I want it to look cool. So I want 10. Stick with the 10s. So yeah, that was the one thing when we go gravel rallying. Obviously, I raise the suspension as much as I dare. But one of the things, because I knew I wanted to do gravel rallying in the Mini. When I built it, I built it with these big captive bolt mounts, basically all over the floor. Underneath the car, I welded them on. And the reason for that is that I could get big sheets of aluminium and literally the whole underside of the car. So it wasn't just a like a sump guard; it was a mini guard, literally from front to
It's like a
back.
flat
It was
bottom.
yeah. And that helped protect the body. I mean, say when we brought it back in here after the gravel rally, we jacked it up. Catherine and myself were underneath there, looking at this scarred underside of the car, just going, if we hadn't have done that, the car would have been trashed. And most
Yeah.
people said to us, especially with the rally mini, with rally cars in general, is most people are worried about the bottom of the car being dented. That's not the case. What happens is the bottom of the car wears away because, on a road, you normally have like a grass hump in the middle, don't you? Or you're going off to one side or the other side. So the bottom of the car is always rubbing on the bottom, on the gravel at some point. You're always doing something. So yes, you will get dents, but actually you'll end up with holes in the bottom of the car because the metal has worn away. So that's why we did a complete underbody tray on it, jacked it up. Really soft suspension. The dampeners basically wound them off completely, just so you could have the suspension would move up and down quick enough. And that was it, really. We just basically winged it and had a great day.
That's amazing. I remember watching that video of the underbody paneling and stuff like that, and I think you were fitting like kind of the gravel tires and seeing how high or how low you can can run it without rubbing and stuff. But yeah, it sure does look cool, man. This one picture on your Instagram of that rally, the Isle of Wight rally, and you're going around the corner, and you're not that high. You're pretty low still,
No.
and you're just. I love it, man. It's so cool.
Have you noticed that it's got a tow bar as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the tow bar, the whole idea of the tow bar is again, I wanted it to be sort of grassroots motorsport. So the idea is got a little box trailer, so I could put all the spare wheels and all the tools and that sort of thing, and drive it to our local car club events. And then all I had to do is just unhatch the trailer and race, and then hatch the trailer on and come back home again. But one of the lads who was servicing for me went, Kev, like a rear tow bar is the best jacking point, that never existed on a Mini, because it's right, it's right in the middle. So you put your trolley jack in the middle, and all of a sudden you've got this, because you know what it's like. You can either jack at one side of the subframe or the other side of the subframe, but if you actually want to jack the whole back of the car up, there's not really anywhere to do it. So in the end, I just left it. I went, well, why not just leave the tow bar on it? And that actually helped as a rear sump guard as well. That's the mount that all the rear skid pan goes to. So
that's a great idea. I didn't even think about that.
It works so well. It's ingenious.
Purely by accident. It was an accident, that it worked so well.
Was there any kind of specific piece of technology or something that you guys picked up to that really helped with kind of taking you to the next level in rallying? Like, was there something that you put off with getting for a while that helped a ton?
Not really. Yeah, I mean the intercom was just fantastic. I picked up a really cheap intercom on eBay when I first built the car, and I can't remember what rally it was. It might have been in that gravel rally that basically Catherine was having to shout at me, because of the noise of the gravel underneath, the noise of the car. And then we just said, this is taking the mick, we actually do need a proper decent intercom. And so I did a little shout out, I say, with our followers on YouTube and said, are you interested in? So we started up a GoFundMe page, and people would just chuck like a $5 or a $10. Some people were amazingly generous, and that sort of is basically how all those expensive bits of kit have been sponsored. We don't have like a major manufacturer sponsor, no big brand sponsors for the car. It's all mainly through crowdfunding, which it's humbling. It really is. The people enjoy what we do to such an extent that they're happy to throw us a few quid so that we can do the sport that we love to do. Say the navigator was was funds to buy that. The fire extinguisher system. I'd say the last rally that we did, which was at Goodwood, it's exactly the same thing. We said, it's 300 and whatever pounds to enter. Would you be interested in helping us with it? And people they were just, at £5 here and there, it just really adds up. And again, it's just, I think we're quite unique in that, I don't know of any other motorsport teams that are basically funded through crowdfunding. So
That's true. Yeah. And honestly, throwing like you said, 5 or 10 bucks at you, and
Quid.
then I get to watch you race, man. That's super cool. Yeah, that's interesting. So wait, so this is just, I just assumed that you would have to have some sort of intercom system because it would be so loud. You guys did races without it prior to?
No, I bought a really cheap one. It was like
cheap,
40 quid, and that was probably the reason why it was £40 on eBay, because it was rubbish.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but yeah, now we've got a fantastic set. We've got practice headsets, which are basically like the headphones, so that when we're not actually competing with the crash helmets on, we can still talk to each other and do practice notes and things like that. So yeah, it's been an absolute game changer having a decent intercom, that's for sure.
That's cool. You kind of talked about a little bit about the response of like your fans, I guess, and the community, crowdfunding the team and that kind of stuff like that. What has the response been, or you can elaborate on that, but what about the response of like the fellow racers and other people at these events? What do they think when you're rolling up in the Classic Mini?
So I just listened to your podcast today. I think it went live, didn't it, with Sean, your experience of spannering at Goodwood.
That's it.
And so one of the questions that you didn't quite know the answer was, you talked about, are we in a historic class? And the answer to that is no, we're not. We're not. So we are just a rally car, as in we're in the same league as those R5s. And it all comes down to, yeah, I know, it's mad. It comes down to the size of your engine. So depending on whether there's a 4-wheel drive class, but then there's literally to the size of your engine. So we are normally in class A1. I think it's a class A1. So we compete against R4 Fiestas because I think it's under 1400 cc. So the latest thing, with turbos, traction control, and all that sort of stuff, we're in exactly the same class. So we are bringing in a knife to a gunfight every time, so and that's the thing. So the reaction is, when we turn up with a Classic Mini, everyone loves it. Absolutely everyone loves it. We've built a rally, a Classic Mini to meet current proper rally regulations. There's no historic stuff about it at all. It's exactly the same as an R5, as in all the same safety equipment, all the same everything else, except we've got a 1275 engine and no turbo, nothing else. We're proper old school. And so the reaction from everybody is just fantastic. They smile every time they see it. The marshals love it, the fellow competitors love it. So it's great.
That was one of the funniest parts about when I was watching the other night. You went to the scrutineers and you had the Christmas tree on the roof, and you're like, oh no, I pissed them off, but they came back with the Christmas hats to judge or whatever, inspect your car.
Yeah.
I just imagine, rolling into a show, an event like that people would love it. It's not the olden days like, haha, you're gonna lose type of things. Like it brings joy to people for sure.
That's the thing. I mean, obviously, that's what Katrin says that every time when we go rallying. Yes, we are in a big competition, but it's not a us against them competition. The main competition is, can you finish the rally? And so other teams will help other teams completely. There was one car was missing a piece of safety kit, and I happened to have 2 bits of safety. It was the tow hoop. You've got to have these tow hoops on your car. in case you end up in a ditch or something like that. And me being me, kind of over-engineered it. So I've got 2 tow hoops on the back and 2 tow hoops on the front. And the one chap didn't have a tow hoop on the front. So we just went, yeah, okay, go and take one of mine. And, everybody will be swapping tools and helping out with spares. And the mechanics will jump from one car to the other if needed. Rallying is quite unique. It's something I've never seen. Club level motorsport is like that normally. But rallying definitely. It's a great experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me every time I see it, whether it's on YouTube, somebody else, it reminds me of like the experience I was talking. I've been telling Sean over the Chinwag episodes of my, it's called a rally, but a rally I did across the United States. It's the community, because it's like club level, like you said. Everyone's just out there to have fun, willing to help. Here, you need this tool, here you need this tow hook or whatever it is. And that's the fun part about it, because if it was, like I said before, I already competed in sports at a high level. Like, I don't want to have that. I want to go out and have fun now.
Yeah.
And whereas when you get to a certain level, like you said, like, I get the guys in Formula One aren't sharing tools, right? Like, like that's serious business now. But we're in here to have fun, finish the race, and do that. That it just seems fun. I can't describe it in any other way. It just looks like a blast.
It really is. I mean, say that the event that we did at Goodwood is known as circuit rallying, because in the UK. There's a lot of NIMBYs. Do you have that word in the States? NIMBYs? Was it not in my backyard? I think it is. So the days of going rallying down country lanes and things like that, there's always someone that goes, oh yeah, but it goes near, I might hear your car from my back garden and things like that. So it's very hard to run unless it's in the forest in Wales or Scotland or something like that. It's very hard to run a proper rally. So the most popular ones are on existing motor racing circuits. So that's why that one works so well. So although it's not like a traditional rally where you're going through ending up somewhere else, right? It's known as circuit rallying, and there's lots of those, and they're really accessible.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Well, any other kind of projects that you got coming up, or any other events that you got coming up that you want the people to know about?
Projects. I've got projects coming out of my ears, but I need to cut them down. But I'm one of those people that has so many project cars that I do need to thin them out. But yeah, as far as rallying is concerned, we really want to do some larger events, say some road closed ones, some a snow rally, something, anything. So we have no aspirations on winning or anything at all. We're just doing it for the giggles and the experience, really. So
ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's it.
Kevin, you want to answer some Paddy probe questions?
Yeah, I've got a jar of lube somewhere. I'm ready for the probe.
All right, let me get my rubber gloves. Snap. Let's see here. I haven't done this one in a while, and I feel like this is a good answer or a good question for you. How many minis are you currently in possession of?
4. There's so I've got my Mark 1, my green Mark 1, which I've had since I was in my early 20s, and I've got no plans to get rid of that one at all. Obviously, I've got the Rally Mini. I don't know if you can see this one. And here, so there you go. There's Bernie, the 1275 GT.
There we go, Bernie.
Yeah, and one I'm not allowed to talk about because that's just for the patrons. It's the secret project.
Ooh. Oh, you son of a bee! Okay, listen, everyone, go jump on the Gentleman's Motor Racing team and join the Patreon so you can figure this out. Because I don't even know. He probably won't even tell me. I gotta go join now, which I'm happy to do. I actually like Patreon. It's pretty cool.
I've never used it.
Patrons, our patron is amazing. So we have lots of supporters that help us with individual projects, but patron for us is fantastic because I think it's like £3 for like a monthly subscription or whatever it is. And what that does is actually pay for our licenses. So
cool.
Catherine's my dad's, our Motorsport UK licenses, our memberships, and all that sort of thing. And so it really does help. And how I repay those people, all of our supporters, is I make a mid-week update video. So literally every week I make a video that tells what we're up to, and people, you're like a virtual member of the team, because I'll be bouncing ideas off and going, I can't fix this. How can I do this? Anyone got any ideas? And so Patreon is great for that. So but yes, that one project, can't tell you about that. That's just for them. It'll go live at some point, but at the moment it's in build progress.
Perfect. I love it. Out of all the minis, what is your favorite variant?
Wow. I do like my favorite is a Mark 1 Marcos.
Ooh.
The ugliest car ever. But I need to get one of them at some point. Because I've no aspirations to go circuit racing. I don't like unlike a rally, you always know who's last in circuit racing, don't you? Whenever you go and watch it, you stand there and you see the fleet go by, and then you go, oh, and there goes Kev. There you go. Oh, you're at the back. So that's right. With rallying, you have no idea who's last, so we don't mind. But I would love to have a go at endurance racing, sort of 6-hour, 12-hour racing. And of course, the Marcos, for me, is famous for when they entered it into the 24 hours of Le Mans. So I'd love to make something like that. That would
be super cool.
It would be amazing.
I think that's my favorite answer that any guest has given on that question.
It's a good one.
It is.
It's a tough question. Listen, the Paddy Probe questions are not easy. It's a tough question. There's a lot of them. Someone else gave a good one, one of those like kind of obscure variants that I had never heard of before, and I forget what it was. I'll have to go back and look it up. I think it was a Crafty Van episode. I think she had some obscure one that I'd never heard of. I could be wrong though. But anyways, somebody fact check me on that. But anyways, great answer. I want to ask this one, because this could be just a street car. This could be for the rally. Is there like a modification that you found most enjoyable or transformed the Mini the most for you?
I don't know about transformed, but anyone that's taken a Mini to bits or taken a subframe out the back of a Mini, would know the annoyance of when the bolts shear off into the rear bulkhead. And I can't remember which car it was.
Yes.
But it was...
That was like my first job on the Mini. I was like, this son of a bitch.
I know, I can't remember what it was. One of the bolts, it didn't actually snap. Oh, it did. It snapped off. And of course, I went, I've got to try and drill this out without taking the rear subframe. I didn't want to take the rear subframe out because obviously, your geometry goes to all the pot and you've got to redo it. So I went, I'll drill it. And anyway, it all went wrong. So basically, I drilled all the way through to the hole in the other side. And I went, I suppose I could nut and bolt it, just to get me back on the road. But where the captive nut is on those bolts is actually inside the rear bins. I don't know if you know that yet, but you can't get to it because there's that brace bar that goes across the top. So I drilled a hole about this big in the top of that brace bar, so then I could get a spanner down there to put a nut on the end, so you could go nut and bolt in like that. Anyway, this was when I was in my early 20s. And now every project I've built, that panel, I've actually deliberately drilled a hole in it and dimple dyed it and welded it in, because now all you have to do is every now and again is squirt the old WD-40 or the oil on the back of those nuts, because you now got access to it. So those bolts never seize in because they're being lubed from the inside. So every Bernie's got it, the Rally Mini's got it, all of them have got these little dimple dyed holes in that little brace part. So for me, I do that with every car, and I've never had to use it in anger, but I do lubricate them through that hole.
That's such a good idea.
That is a fantastic idea. I've heard people having to like cut it open to like fix it and weld in a new one, but like deliberately doing it. It's, might as well, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, if you got the car in bits, you might as well do it.
Oh man, I like it. Let's see here. Let's see. All right. We're gonna throw out a couple new ones here. In what way do you think the Mini surpasses other cars, and what makes it uniquely special?
Oh no, I couldn't research that answer, could I? I think uniquely it transcends all sorts of ages, doesn't it? I mean, when you're in the Mini, doesn't matter whether it's a rally Mini or whatever, you park it, and people from every age will come up to you and have a Mini story, won't they? They'll just come up and go, "Oh, I had one of them," or "My dad had one of them," or "I've always wanted one of those," and you will strike up conversations with everybody that it's just a great icebreaker owning one of those cars. And I can't imagine there are many other cars that you can do that. I mean, nobody turns up to me when I'm in my Yaris and says, "Oh yeah," So for me, that's definitely that's the thing about the Mini.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's very true. It's like I said it before. It's hard to kind of put your finger on why it makes it so special, but we know it's special. We know it's unique. Let's see here. One or two more. I think. All right. I like this question for you because maybe you've built it, maybe you haven't. But do you have a dream Mini project? If you had like the opportunity to create something, like is it your rally Mini, or is it something bigger or better?
No. Well, no, it's smaller and better. So obviously, when we at our local club, we do auto testing, and I've always wanted a cut down auto test Mini. Do you know the ones that
Yes.
where it's just literally got a windscreen, and then the rest of the car's about this high, isn't it? Because it's level with the rear arch. And it's all open.
So cool.
Exactly. And when you watch the videos of people doing that, they're just handbraking around the cones, and they're doing J turns, and I have to make one of those. But I've had so many different car Minis that I could have done it to, and I'd look at. I've got my angle grinder in my hand, and I'm going, I can't cut this Mini up. I can't. So I'm if ever a rolled Mini comes up, like a Mini that's been in an accident or whatever. I've even contemplated building one from scratch. Just buying a heritage bulkhead or something, and going, well, that's the main chunk that I need. The rest I can fabricate. Right. I would love to make one of those.
That would be cool. I do like those. All right, last one. I like to end on this one. If you could have a drink, coffee, beer, tea, whatever, with one Mini celeb, who would it be and why?
I can actually do it. Do you know Bill Richards? No, yes. So he, Bill Richards. So he's quite a famous Mini racing driver here in the UK. He's done like the fastest Mini in the world competitions they do at Brands Hatch, I think it is. He does a lot of engine building for Mini spares, and I've literally been reading the book of the last works Mini. So in the 90s, Rover and BMW, while they were sort of still together, they did this like last hurrah where they rehomologated the classic Mini so they could take part in the WRC. So they were doing all these events, and the main one was to go back down to Monte Carlo, do the Monte Carlo rally with Paddy Hopkirk driving. And he was the chap who he was heavily involved in building the engines for those cars, and he was also a service crew. So I was reading this book, and there's this picture of this chap, Bill Richards, and I said, oh yeah. Just so happens, not so many years ago, maybe 3 years ago, he now lives on the Isle of Wight. He's moved down here, and he's here, and I have his telephone number in my phone. So if I really wanted to, I could phone him up right now and go, fancy a beer so we can have a chat about the old last works Minis. But I haven't done it, So I really do want to do that, So yeah, I think it would be really interesting to hear about those days.
Yeah, that
definitely.
would.
I was literally just
100%.
watching a video on that Monte Carlo with Paddy when he returned about 2-3 days ago. So
Yeah.
it looked incredible. I didn't realise
Yeah.
that was Bill working on the engines.
Yeah, they had to jump through an awful lot of hoops to make that meet the regs. Literally, I think they had about 2 years or like 1 year or whatever before they went, no, that's it. The Mini can never compete at that level again.
Oh wow!
So they really made some changes to it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, I appreciate you being on. Like I said, everyone go follow the Gentleman's Motor Racing Team, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I think on Instagram it's TGMRT 10W, is it?
Yeah, that's I couldn't get the Gentleman's Motor Racing Team on its own for some bizarre reason, and the 10W is about as near as I could get to Isle of Wight as I could.
Oh, it's all coming together.
There we go. So go follow him, go support him, check out his Patreon, check out his YouTube, and anything else you guys want the people to know?
Really, don't be shy. You know, I'm looking at you, Mike. Don't put it off. Go and find your local motorsport club. Give it a go. Genuinely, it's a lot cheaper and more accessible than you can ever imagine. You won't regret it, you know. And Sean, you enjoyed rallying so much. I'd like to invite you to be a navigator one time in the Mini if you're up for it. I've got a spare helmet. I've got a spare set of overalls. We can. The license to do that is very, very cheap, and we'll pick an event that's a bit closer to you, and we'll get you out reading notes.
Whoa,
Kevin, you're an absolute star. I am so up for this.
3 right, 4 right, 90 right, left, followed by
3
straight ahead, 4 right,
3 left opens,
Don't
tightens
cut.
into 4 right. Yeah, don't
tightens down. Don't be an idiot. Slow your roll. That's sick. Look at that right here on this podcast. Mini Life is going rallying again. We're stepping our game up from spanners to navigation. Oh man, sheesh.
Hey.
Not my right, you're right.
Yeah.
Hey, that is awesome. I'm very happy for this. This is super cool. We really appreciate you being on, Kevin. We'll have to catch up again. We love following your projects. So if we don't have anything else, I will catch you guys on the next one.
See you later. Thanks, Kevin.
Top it up.